go, guys. All right, y'all. We are about to have a call. I want to give it back really quick to Marin. You almost made me cry right now. What is going on, girl? I've seen you grow so much over the last few years. You should be so proud of yourself. I want to continue to see you dig into who you really are and showcasing that. Bringing that energy forward because I know that you inspire me. Whenever I see you, just get outside of your comfort zone. You show up when you don't want to. You do things that are not convenient. You do things that are maybe unfamiliar to you. And it inspires me. And I know it inspires so many others that are around you. So keep it up, girl. We all so appreciate you and your support, your love that you pour into us. But guys, we're going to get into the call tonight. This is our monthly team call. We are bringing them back to the squad. And I know this is right before the holidays, so I appreciate y'all for being here. This won't be a long call, but it's going to be a very, very impactful call that we want to make sure you guys really have the right mindset leaving these calls when we do them. So the next one will be in December. Oh, turn on the lamp. Thank you all. Let's see. Let me know if the lighting is okay. Because we're in a different spot. But we want to make sure that you guys walk away from this call, not just motivated, not just hype, not just excited, but actually have somewhat of a foundation that you can apply. Because knowledge, we all know, is not power. Applied knowledge is. And the thing about what we have here, like Marin was talking about, the academy, the community, the access that we have, it's not just about consuming information. Like, information is everywhere. We have access to what we have here because of how it can transform us, how it can change us, how we can literally walk away a different person, a different mentality, a different heart. And so I really want to encourage you, as we, any call that you get on, any go live session, whatever it may be, event that you're walking into, you're not just there to gain information just for the sake of consumption, but for the sake of application. And so let's get into the call tonight. I did ask in the beginning, what is something that you learned from watching go live this week? Drop it in the chat as we are going throughout this call. If you guys were on the last one that we did in October, just a quick recap, that was probably one of the most powerful calls that we had, just from the feedback alone from everybody that tuned in. We went over really the expectations, how people, when they get started, there's three things that really set them up for success or don't. Number one is having the proper expectations. Number two is having a sustainable plan to follow. And number three is having that connection and that support. Proper expectations, failed expectations are all about your belief and your mindset. Having a sustainable plan to follow is all about giving yourself and positioning yourself to implement and take action, and having the right connection and support is all about your environment. And the worst thing that we want to have is obviously being in isolation. We don't want that when we're a part of, what we're doing here. So I want to get into tonight's call. And if you guys saw the topic, we're going to roll through this over the next 15, 20 minutes. And at the end, if you have to go, I understand, but we're going to take some questions if you still have stuff you want to go over for the Trade Locker platform. Okay. So write this down if you're taking notes. Success requires sacrifice. Success requires sacrifice. And I love some of the pastors that I've been following, and some of the individuals that I look up to and listen to, especially Mike Navarrete. He's an educator on the Forex side. He talks about how success is the pursuit. And on our way, in our journey, in our process, we are going to have to sacrifice. And I don't want to sound cliche up here, but a lot of the things that we talk about is cliche because it's true. The easy things that we hear, but maybe overlook and underestimate, those are the subtle things. Those are the small things. Those are the things that are, at the end of the day, costing us our future. And I'm going to talk about that tonight, especially going into this last, month and a half, 6 weeks of the year, closing out 2023. I can't believe COVID was almost 4 years ago. It's like actually insane. We're almost halfway through this decade. It's pretty wild, but I want you to write this down. You're going to have to sacrifice who you used to be. On this journey, whatever success looks like for you, you're going to have to sacrifice who you used to be. Where you spend your time is what you value the most. You know how you look at your bank account statement, or you look at a receipt from, maybe the food you just purchased or your grocery list or whatever. You look at all the things that you spend on. If you could go back and look at the receipt of where you spent your time today or the last week or the last month or the last 11 months of this year. What does that look like? Where you spend your time is what you value the most. And I don't know what your sacrifice is. Everybody on this call has something specific to them that they're going to have to sacrifice. Okay. And I'm not on this call to talk at you at all whatsoever. I have things that I am also working on that I have to sacrifice as well. But I'm here to raise awareness. I'm here to maybe give you perspective, show you an outlook that will help you see things differently from a new way of thinking, a new light. But I don't know what maybe your sacrifice is. To everyone on here, it may be different for everybody on this call. But I will tell you, you will need to sacrifice something. There is a cost, there is a price for success. We've heard this all before, right? There is something that I'm gonna tell you, there is something that you do nearly every single day, something subtle, maybe something small, something so minuscule that because you do it every day, it's compounding against you. It's keeping you in your comfort zone. My question for you is, what is that thing? Maybe it's a couple things, but maybe it's just one thing that stands out that is probably keeping you from doing the right things. There is something in your day-to-day schedule. It's not this big thing. It's this one small thing that you've been doing day after day, year after year, month after month, that's keeping you where you're at. And it's your mindset. Like it's keeping you in that mindset that you have. What is that one thing or things that's holding you back? Maybe I'm gonna give you some examples. So let's get specific here. Maybe it's, you snooze your alarm instead of waking up and getting to your workout, getting your workout in. Maybe it's when you get home from work, you lay down on the couch, you lay on your bed, whatever, and you just scroll on TikTok, you just scroll on Instagram, and that's your routine. That's your habit instead of getting on Go Live. Maybe it's, you're ordering food and you're not meal prepping, okay, the week before or the night before, whatever. Now you're spending money that you could have been saving to invest. What is that? You don't need, I mean, you can type in the chat if you want to, but like, you've got to know this for yourself. What is that thing that's maybe holding you back? Everybody's got that temptation the devil tempts you with. Everyone's got that thing that distracts them. Like it's their thing. There's something for you that you've got to cut the fat in. What is that? Because it's only going to get worse the next 6 weeks of this year. This is slowdown time for majority of people across the world. But this is our time to not just double down, but just stay consistent. Just stay consistent doing the little things. So I don't know what your one thing is, but I can tell you, for every comfort that you seek and satisfy, it's costing you something. Okay. I know in scripture, they talk about, I think it's Galatians 5:22-23. They talk about the fruit of the Spirit. I just read Galatians last week, and I want to share with you somewhat of an example of how you can look at this on a spiritual level, because the things that we're doing, the sacrifices that we need to make, like you can't just have what you want and be able to sustain the old way of living, the old way of thinking that you've always had. There's got to be some sort of change along the way. But the fruit of the Spirit, I want to explain this to you, and maybe you'll pick up what I'm putting down. But your peace is being replaced with anxiety. Every time you do the things that you shouldn't be doing, I think it's Romans 7, it's talking about how, like, I do what I don't want to do. I forget, somebody can post in the chat. I don't remember all my scriptures yet, but your peace is being replaced with anxiety when you don't wake up in the morning, because you're not getting in your Bible, you're not praying, you're not doing the things that you said you're going to do, you're not journaling, okay? You're anxious about your day because you didn't take time in the morning to get done what you had on your plan, on your list. Your progress is being replaced with stagnancy. Your focus is being replaced with distraction. Your self-control is being replaced with greed, indulgent behavior. Your joy is being replaced with fear. Your generosity is being replaced with selfishness, because we don't take the time to work on ourselves consistently. And I'm not talking at anybody at this call, but if you resonate with something that I'm saying in your life that you have to change, you've got to draw the line in the sand. I can no longer continue to operate this way. I can no longer continue to think this way, believe in this way, view myself in this way, do the things that I've always done in this way. I've got to change. I've got to change. Above all else, I'll tell you, it's costing Thank you. Above all else, Romans 7:15-20. That's amazing. Above all else, it's costing you your freedom. It's costing you your freedom. And everybody on this call, freedom means something differently to you. Okay. What does that look like? Be specific about it, because that's what every time we seek and satisfy the comforts of our life, it's costing us our freedom. And it's the day to day buildup. God loves small beginnings. It's not this big, grandiose thing that is keeping us from the life that we want, the results that we want. It's the small, subtle, little things. It's not even maybe even like, yes, it's our actions, but it's honestly our heart. It's our attitude and how we're seeing things. Like we all could be looking at the same thing, and we all have a different perspective based on our belief system, based on our program. Okay. And I want to tell you success. And I forget who might have said this on one of the go live, one of the calls that we've been on, but I think sometimes we cannot really understand like the process that we're going to go through. And it's going, I just want to validate some things here real quick. Your process that you're going to go through is going to be harder than you thought. It's going to take longer than you expected. It's going to require more of you than you want to give. Okay. It's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be inconvenient. It's going to be unfamiliar. Okay. It's not the destination that we're after anyways. It's who you're committed to becoming. Like I think we said on the call the other week, success is your commitment to doing the little things over and over and over again. Okay. The problem, I think what happens along this journey, type of 7 in the chat if you guys can relate. The problem, I believe, is we tend to focus so much on the result, and we don't take careful consideration of our actions and attitude that's actually yielding those results. We get so caught up on the actual outcome. I got to make, I got to make this amount of money. I got to hit this percentage, fill in the blank, right? But we don't recognize, like like on a subconscious level, we don't even recognize that it's our attitude and our actions that's yielding the results that we continue to keep getting in the first place. And I don't want to sound like a broken record here. I don't want us to just leave this call hyped up, motivated, excited, or, whatever. I want us to really leave with one thing of like, hey, I've got to make a change. I really need to do something different. I've been, I've been validated on the thoughts that I've been having for so long. Like this is it. So we get so caught up in the outcome, and we don't realize that who we are being is the program that's controlling our attitude. It's controlling our actions. It's controlling our results. And I'll be honest with you guys, it wasn't until I found Jesus that I began to truly see that we are all made in God's image. And I say this because God has a specific design for us that I don't need. And this is something that I've struggled with for a very long time, is I don't need to compare myself to anybody anymore. I don't need to get frustrated with myself. Or what we do a lot is shame ourselves when maybe we aren't as far along in our journey than that we believe that we should be. There is no I should be. You are literally where you're supposed to be right now for a reason. Okay. We don't need to shame ourselves. Somebody posted it, I think it was Alex Morton. I'll send this in the chat after we're done. But he said, he shared this emotional vibration chart, and shame is at the bottom of the list. It's all of these emotions, or fruits, I should say. It's shame, guilt, apathy, which is laziness, grief, fear, desire, anger, pride, courage, neutral, willingness, acceptance, reason, love, joy, peace, and enlightenment. I'll send this in the chat so you guys can see it. But when I saw shame at the very bottom, I was very taken back. I was like, wow, how often do we do that to ourselves? And this all ties together with the topic of tonight, sacrifice. Success requires sacrifice. But I wanted to just give you some perspective and kind of be a little bit vulnerable with you guys that, I have struggles as well. I've compared myself numerous times over to people that I should not be comparing myself anyways, as a threat, but as a way to be inspired of man, if God can do that for them, what could he maybe possibly do for me? I don't need to get frustrated with myself. I don't need to shame myself. You don't need to do those things and thinking that I should be a lot further than I am. No, it's not even like that. Just go look at your track record of what you've been doing for the last however long, right? What have we been? What's the buildup been? Okay. where someone else is maybe succeeding and I am not yet. So oftentimes along our journey, we can do that to ourselves. We can think that this will never work because it's me. We can personalize it. We can get attached to it. It becomes our outlook and how we see things. And most importantly, it becomes our identity. And we don't want the wrong things, obviously, to become our identity. Many of you guys may know, like we know where our identity comes from, where our identity is rooted in. Okay. And I can tell you my identity for the longest time was rooted in my results. It was rooted in outcomes. It was rooted in, oh, I just need my situation or my circumstance to change. Absolutely not. I love this guy, Chad Veach, one of the pastors I follow. He said, results do not define you. Enjoy the process. And that's something that I love and I live and I live my life out through. I don't define myself by an outcome. And I know like I'm going slow, maybe kind of expressing this to you guys, but this took me a long time to understand and not identify myself with a result. And it's not just like, oh, a flip of the switch, like cool, now I'm good. It takes time. Me too, Dustin. Instead of trying to change our results or change even our habits, which is what we usually will go to. Oh, it takes 75 days to, change a habit. It takes 3 weeks to do this. Let me just focus on changing my results. Well, it's be, do, have, not have, do, be. We all know that, right? So we've got to focus on who we're being, our attitude, our heart, okay, our mindset, our outlook. We have to change our identity. How do you identify success? What does success look like to you? What does failure look like to you? I mean, it's both sides of the same coin. You can't have one without the other. If you have like you can't have a good relationship with success and a poor relationship with failure. You have to have a healthy relationship with both, especially in business, especially in trading. You cannot become a successful, profitable trader if you don't have a healthy outlook when it comes to your trading, your success and your failure. Like I won't get into it tonight, but you guys heard the other week, and especially if you watch Mike Navarrete, you will understand that the trade that you took previously has nothing to do with the trade that you're about to take. Absolutely nothing at all. And when I was able to have that reset, like internally on an emotional, mental level, that's when things started to change for me. That's when I started to look at my trading so much differently. And I'm saying this because everybody on this call, we're pretty much here because we want to learn how to trade. But I want to share this with you. Your identity is rooted right now in beliefs, okay, for many of us that are costing you not only your freedom, but the call in your life that God has for you. So I really want you as a takeaway from this call to reevaluate, to take inventory. Where is your identity rooted? Because it's dictating pretty much everything that you do. It's the program in which you live your life off of. It's the reality that you're seeing, okay? It's the heart posture that you carry for yourself. And I'm not perfect by any means. I have a lot of things that I'm obviously working on as well. But there is something on this cause, if I can give you guys as a takeaway, leaving this, that you can take inventory on, that hey, if I don't make this sacrifice, it's going to cost me here. It's going to cost me my peace, and I'm going to be filled with anxiety. It's going to cost me my progress, and I'm going to be filled in this stagnation, stuck state of being. If I don't clear up this distraction, like it's going to cost me my focus. Like, what is it? Get specific. This is so much bigger. This is so much deeper than just trading, than just investing, than just making money. As you guys can see, if you tune into the Go Live sessions, I'll share my screen in just a second because I do want to show you guys something that's so powerful. If you actually tune in on a consistent basis, you will be transformed. I read the Bible every single day, guys. I am not the same person that I was a year ago when I was reading the Bible. No way. Absolutely not. Like, I know that. Okay. If you tune in to Go Live on a day-to-day basis, you will be transformed. Look at yourself in 12 months from now. If you actually do the work, if you actually stay consistent, you will see that for yourself when you stop making this just about money and results. If you're just here for money and results, that's why people leave. That's why we talked about this last time. Like, that's why people come and go. They stay because they feel supported, they feel valued, and they feel like this is real. They've made this real for themselves. And people leave because they don't feel supported, they don't feel valued, and they stopped making this real. So that's why I stay around the campfire. That's why I plug in. That's why when I have doubt and worry, and I feel discouraged and I feel defeat coming on in my heart, I tune in. I get around somebody. I get around the right people. I get inside of the platform. And I say that because, I mean, if you've been on Go Live like lately, it's not like Netflix, it's not like HBO. This will actually make you feel some type of way in a good way. So, oh, and the last thing, stop making this about how other people see or think about you, what people think about you. That probably is one of the most costly things I do is I worry about what other people will say or think about me. And who I like I know when you say it out loud, it's like, yeah, that sounds so silly. But like when you're in the moment, you're going through it, that's what we think about. And maybe you have your own thing as well. So that's what I wanted to share with you guys on tonight's call. These monthly team calls are to bring you back to the center. It's to bring you to the foundation, to the root. It's to bring clarity. It's to we'll open it up right now. I'll stop recording here for questions, and to give you guys that belief check, that reality check that this is real for you. This can be real for you, but maybe we just need to change our perspective. Maybe we need to soften our heart a little bit because it's a little hard from our experiences that we've gone through. So that is the call. I'm gonna stop recording right now, and I'm gonna open it up for any questions that you guys may have. Stop.